I'm standing near the mouth of the River Ogmore. So you can see that this is where the river meets the sea at Ogmore by Sea. So it's the end of the River Iweni going into the River Ogmore. This here, the area behind me, is very flat and green. It's called a floodplain. This is where the river floods very, very often at high tide, or if there's been heavy rainfall for a significant period of time. And every time the river floods, the silt and alluvium from the bottom of the river comes up onto the river banks and is deposited, forming this large area of flat land. This area is very good for farming. It creates a fertile soil. So you can see very green grass growing here, and often farmers will put sheep in this area, or even crops in this area in some countries as well, but not here, as you can see. This would be a poor place to build because, as you can see, the river would often flood here. So building in these areas would mean that your house is very likely to experience flooding. But this does happen in some countries. They will build on floodplains. It's also very hard to get insurance for your house, as you can imagine, living in an area like this. Floodplains are at the lower course of the river, as I said, at the mouth where the river meets the sea. And the reason you have the build-up of alluvium and silt is because the river's flow slows down as it meets the sea. And as we've learned in school, when the flow of the river slows down, it loses energy and deposits or drops what it's carrying. So it drops all that mud and all the silt on the river banks, building up this large area of floodplain that you can see behind me. So this example is at Ogmore by Sea, at the mouth of the River Ogmore. In the distance, you can also see Merthyr Mawr Dunes. These are a famous sand dune system in South Wales. One of the biggest sand dune systems in South Wales. One of the others is called Cenffig Dunes. And just a little bit further, I'm not sure if you can see it, a perfect place for wind turbines. The reason they put wind turbines here is this large open area exposed to the coastline is a great place to pick up the wind to get those wind turbines really turning. And Wales as a country provides lots of opportunities for wind turbines, like the tops of the mountains in the Brecon Beacons, and also we are surrounded by coastline on the western side, and so they will put wind farms like this in these areas. And if you look in the news at the moment, some of the positives to come from this lockdown are the decreased use of coal. So in the news just this morning it said that this is the longest 2 months that the UK has gone without using coal, which is a fossil fuel, and instead we're relying on these wind turbines which are providing our energy.